Hello, this is Seven Phillips, and I'm here to talk about talking about sex, which is one of the most difficult things for couples to do. As a couples counselor, there are a couple of themes that are worth noting and bringing to your attention. One of them is there's this general idea that if we talk about our sex life, that it means there's something inherently wrong with our sex life. And it doesn't necessarily mean that. So what's great to do is if two people can get together and just agree that, hey, if we talk about our sex life, it doesn't mean there's something wrong. It could mean that we just want to improve it. Another is that sometimes when someone comes into a relationship and they have previous experience that they believe makes them naturally capable of pleasing their partner, what that does is it actually gets in the way of communication. And we'll call it a sexual ego. But what happens is that the person on the other end is less likely to tell you what feels good or doesn't feel good because they're afraid of hurting your feelings. And this really just cuts down on the communication. The basic premise in changing this is that everyone's different. Every human being, everyone's bodies are different. So that whether you have sexual experience or not, it doesn't matter, because every human being is subtly different, and in some way, if both people can come at the relationship with that level of humility, there's a sense of curiosity that can develop that is just a much more open field to really get to know one another, and it opens the doors to talking about sex much more freely. Another issue that comes up is when two people get together, they have different sex drives. Now, this is completely normal for two people to have two different sex drives, but what can happen is that this pressure gets built up that can actually make it worse. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and a suggestion that I have to improve on that is if you can get together, talk about it, and mindfully agree for the person that's coming forward who's frustrated to just back off a bit, which gives room for your partner to come forward a little bit. And then at the same time, the partner who is kind of pulling back to mindfully come forward at the same time and try to find a place to meet that perhaps maybe is more of your natural fit. And another thing is in relationships, of course, when you're upset at each other, when you're fighting, when you're resentful, if there's trust issues in a relationship, this is going to affect your sex life. So sometimes we need to address the more emotional issues before we can really come back to improving or having a better sex life. Well, I'd love to hear from you guys. If you relate to some of this stuff, I'd love to hear what it's like for you in your relationship, or if there's some things that I didn't even mention that are worth noting. I'd love it if you'd share it with us. I hope you're having a good day. Thanks.